Welcome back, everybody. Matt the Bat here. Excuse me. So, later last week, we got some exciting news. I mean, at least I think it is. We already knew that the Equalizer 3 was coming. This is another Denzel Washington franchise. Well, his only actual franchise. The first one came out in 2014. And I know Chloe Grace Moretz was in that movie. That was directed by Antoine Fuqua. The sequel came out, I think it was 2018, 2019. The Equalizer 2 came out, which I don't think that was as good as the first one. But it actually wasn't that bad of a sequel, considering it took so long to make a sequel. But now we know that there is an Equalizer 3 coming. It's going to be coming out, I think they're going to start shooting it this summer, which means it's probably coming out next year. I think Antoine Fuqua is returning to direct. But we got some actually better news last week. Last week we found out that none other than Dakota Fanning will be joining the sequel, re-teaming with Denzel Washington himself, since they worked together way back in the early 2000s in one of my favorite Denzel Washington movies, Man on Fire. That was also it's also one of my favorite Tony Scott movies. That movie was great in my opinion. That first hour was all character development. Then the the last hour was all action, brutal, violent action. But yeah, so here we are, many years later, and Dakota Fanning has kind of re-emerged in Hollywood. She used to be the biggest child actress working back in the 2000s. I mean, she worked with Denzel, she worked with Sean Penn, she worked with Reese Witherspoon, Brittany Murphy, Robert De Niro, Tom Cruise. Who else did she work with? Lots of people. But still, like I said, Robert De Niro, Tom Cruise, Denzel, Sean Penn, Brittany Murphy, Reese Witherspoon. I mean, come on, Kurt Russell. And then, like I said, she worked with a lot of people, a lot of big actors. And a lot of the time, she did better than the actual bigger actors in the movie. So, she really, when people say what child actress do you want to get, almost everyone said Dakota Fanning. Then I guess around maybe, I don't know, when she became a teenager, she kind of stepped away from acting for a while. Her sister, Elle Fanning, has come up through the ranks, being in We Bought a Zoo, Super 8, The Neon Demon. She played Aurora in Maleficent. But it looks we saw Dakota Fanning in the 2010s. She was in the last 2 or 3 Twilight movies. Not playing a big role in those, but having a role in those movies. Then we saw her show up in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And that was the first time in a long time that I was like, oh my god, it's Dakota Fanning. And now it looks like she's, trying to make a comeback. She's working with Denzel Washington, or is going to be working with Denzel Washington in the Equalizer 3. This is great news. They had really good chemistry in Man on Fire, so I hope their chemistry still works now that she's older in this movie. I don't know what the story is, they haven't said. I hope she's not just, Denzel has to go save her from the bad guys. I hope there's something to it. I don't know, maybe Denzel's the one who's in trouble. And somehow Dakota Fanning has to go help him. Creasy. That's from Man on Fire. Creasy. What's the name of the bear? Creasy. Creasy. So, I'm looking forward to this. Like, I thought the first two Equalizer movies were pretty good. Now that you got the original director of the first one back, plus you're adding Dakota Fanning to the mix. I don't know, I'm actually excited about this movie now. So let me know, what do you think? Are you happy to see Dakota Fanning kind of re-emerge back into Hollywood? Her reteaming with Denzel Washington? I kind of wish, there's a part of me that I wish Man on Fire, the original, Denzel Washington didn't die in that, by the end of that movie. Because if they announced Dakota Fanning and Denzel, I would have said, holy shit, they're making a Man on Fire too. And I would have been super excited for that. But no, who knows, we might still get sort of a Man on Fire 2 type of story, but in the Equalizer. So we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments. And like I said, I bet this movie will be out sometime next year.